I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Welcome to the March 18th Commissioners meeting. We normally have a window of opportunity, but I think you're all here for a reason, and we've got a slight crowd tonight, so we're thankful for that. We'll jump right into the agenda, and we will move the maintenance. Where are you at on here?
It's the second one down.
Second one, yes. The building superintendent here. We'll move you up there.
Well, first, I'm going to give you, I just made one of these, copy of this. You guys asked for to keep a track.
Yes.
So we've been marking down, keeping times of everywhere we're at. I had to make disinfectant because we didn't, it's out everywhere. So we've been keeping track of it, just bleaching and Lysol and everything.
I tried Dollar General at Lexington. I went in there Sunday and there was a bowl of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Might just try it tomorrow then. It's hard to go out there. The last meeting, I had walked out. I already had left at that time to tear down some caution tape.
That was good.
It looks a lot better. We appreciate that.
But I guess something was mentioned about the truck. The last building superintendent and the one before that, they drove it home because we're 24/7 on call. So that's basically what I was just here to discuss. I haven't drove it since then just because I didn't know how everything was insurance-wise. I didn't know how it was still.
You'd just be doing back and forth to work, run errands and all that kind of stuff.
Just back and forth to work, and then whatever I need to go to from here, like from here to, Burris, or here to Ace, or here to wherever.
We left the last guy to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, myself, I don't think I have a problem with that as long, like I say, as long as it's work-related.
Yeah.
And you have a problem.
I think it's fine.
I think it's, okay. All right, motion made to allow it to
Second.
make it unanimous. Again, got it too from home, because it is 24, you're on call 24/7.
And I don't know if you want.
I won't really need that. What I mean, what we're gonna need for you to put that in a file.
Yeah, I've kept track
And,
of.
if you want
In the auditor's office, anything they turn in claim on that's extra supplies needed for this, she's also making a note in the claim so we can cross-reference. Also, time cards, I've asked them for any hours that's related to COVID-19 extra disinfecting, that they write that on their timesheet, so we can also look at
Yeah,
that.
every claim I have for any extra cleaner that we don't normally get, I make two folders. So I have a folder for that company and a folder for COVID-19 that I've got labeled as COVID-19, and then I keep one. Andrew showed me how to keep a file on the computer itself, so I just save it on there. So I literally have about 3 sections that I can keep it. The only one I can't, I can write them down and keep them on the computer, but the timesheet's going to be separately that I've got it basically written on that timesheet of what we. And if we work anything over, like we've worked a few hours over to try to, after everybody leaves, to try and keep up with everything the last few days, that's all for that. So I just mark it down like normal.
just keep it, like we told you before, just keep a good accounting record of that. Because it has been declared a national emergency, then FEMA, there may be some chance of regrouping some of the money that we're spending towards this. So, just make, we're doing a good job.
So, I know you're new in the job, and I think you and I talked a little bit about this, and making sure that, try to get some files or something, some spreadsheets set up where you
Yeah.
can have all the preventive maintenance and all the files. You and I have talked about it many times, so I think you know what I'm asking. I just like to see where whatever we have is being maintenance, and not wait till something tears the heck up and then we're spending thousands of dollars to repair something. Speaking of that, I'm gonna go back to the jail. Did we ever put those grinder pumps in the jail? I know we priced them.
Grinder pumps was I don't know if it was the last sheriff or the sheriff before. I don't remember when that time happened. I know that came in the last one was here, but I never got to see the price of those.
It was like $24,000, wasn't it, for grinder pump?
Yeah,
Yes. it was.
they were never put in because of.
Well, I know originally they weren't because they were taken out because of the specs on the building.
Yeah,
And, but I think we marked one up with some mop rag or ends.
it's all the stuff from the basement goes
Yeah.
up, and that's in it. I mean, it doesn't grinder, it doesn't, at
All right.
least one grinder pump.
Can you get us
goes
a
in there.
price on it so we can see before we're having to spend 24,000 again?
Yeah.
On something else. The last thing, Tammy, what's he gotta do to put in for another person for him?
You guys asked him to come to you with his thoughts and ideas on that. All you guys have to do is tell me what to post and I'll post it. If it's not creating a new position or rearranging, like if you took a full-time and went to 2 part-times, we'd have to go to council to get that on the salary.
So you want a part-time, or you want a full-time person with you and the salary stay the same, or what do you want?
I was trying to get through this, what we're going through right now first. We do need somebody, whether it's full-time or whether it's part-time, you know, somebody at least in here helping
But you're gonna
as
have
much
to tell
as
us
we
that.
can. Yeah, I just kind of need to get through this, where we're at right now.
Let's think about it.
Yeah, but I would,
I don't want you being smothered right now and.
well, and that's, I don't know how hard it is going to be to try to get somebody in here with what's going on right now. I don't know if that is going to be any, you know,
Okay.
strenuous on it, but yes, we do need somebody. I don't know if we do need, you know, you asked about full-time or part-time. I could use either one, really. And I know Tammy said, I mean, the money's in line, but it's got to be a different job description line.
If you change.
If you change the scope of what it was, and you
Yeah.
change that scope to something else, then it has to go to council. Council has to change the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm asking. You need to think about, do you need a full-time position like you had before and nothing changes? Or you need a part-time position. If that happens, then you have to go to council, they have to change job description and everything else, so.
And you also mentioned maybe full-time and part-time on the Forest Service. It's talk, I'm listening to you, so.
Oh. Yeah, well, I'd like to, you know, try and obviously put somebody in my position. And then what I was a maintenance custodian. So I had double duties, but I stayed obviously more busy in maintenance. If I wasn't at the jail, which I haven't lately because of what's going on, I kind of get over there when, you know, if it's an emergency. So if I don't need to go over there, I've kind of limited going over there right now. So if I wasn't over there all the time, I would just need a part-time person.
But you don't anticipate that happening.
No. I
The
don't
jail is a
anticipate-
full-time.
Yeah, I don't anticipate, yeah,
At least half the time anyway.
Yeah, I'm there a lot. So,
Okay.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Things hanging out of your pockets.
Bunch of keys, 100 keys.
The next one up is going to be the Verizon County.
The Verizon, that's Mark Gibson, he's been here
That's
before.
for the tower replacement, correct?
It's cabinet placement along some of the roads. And then there's a tower placement, President Pat, we've got 2 Verizon issues here. So one, it's gonna be 2 separate conference calls. The first one is to this Mark Gibson. You've got an email on top of your pile there. His number is,
Well, I think we've got 2 different companies. Verizon is for the tower, Frontier is asking for the county.
okay,
That's,
sorry, I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, Frontier, so that will be, the next one will be Frontier,
Okay,
for the cabinet placement right here. And,
so Frontier is cabinet, right?
And
And Verizon is tower.
Well, initially, if this is the property line, you had on this side the ditch, because that ditch is almost the property line.
Yeah.
I wanted it as far back this way,
Yeah,
and that's 150-foot tower. It has to be 150 foot away from the property line, so I'm fine with that.
okay.
I just didn't want it on right in the center of the property. And actually, he
Yeah.
didn't realize there were 2 properties there.
Yeah.
I don't
Stop
think-
him first. You want to do Preston Patton first since you're talking about that. We can do either one of, they don't care, they're waiting for a call after 5 o'clock.
The guy that I've got here, this let me make sure we're getting the right one here. This is
Mark Gibson.
Mark Gibson.
Okay, and he's for your
That's the
cabinet
wrong one,
placements. Yeah, I've
That's the
got
wrong
you
one.
mixed
So
up.
next one.
Okay, so we'll cross
It's
this.
that one, Mark Gibson.
So there's a, okay, wait a minute, we're all confused here, so let's not get too much more confused. This one here says that this is Frontier is requesting to add 5 new locations for cabinets.
This
That's-
is Mark Gibson.
This, okay, this is, and
This
this is,
is,
Well, we'll see where Bob's talking about, because both these have Mark Gibson in
Yeah.
it. and they're in-
These are both the same thing.
Are they
Well,
actually
no,
right away?
yeah.
okay, then you've got
No, but
a,
it's the same problem.
yeah,
It's about cabinets, they're both about the cabinets.
yes, and you've got 2 pieces of paper for cabinets, and the next one is the tower.
Okay.
The next, the
Yeah.
map is for tower, but that is for a separate issue.
okay, so who are we talking to?
We're
on the
gonna
tower?
talk to Mark Gibson first,
Is he with, who's he
and
with?
he's the Verizon, he's
That's
the,
Copeland Mud.
Was this the guy that came in and asked for easements a while back?
he's the cabinet guy for Frontier.
For Frontier.
Frontier cabinet guy.
This is not the Verizon guy that came in for the tower.
No.
No, we're gonna call him next.
Yes, but
Yes.
this is Copeland.
So we're calling Mark, right?
We're calling Mark from Frontier for cabinets along the roads.
You guys ready?
We'll try this.
One time I thought Frontier.
I want a
was
map.
the same thing.
Tammy, I want a map of those cabinets. I want to know where they're going to be.
All right, guys. You might want
There's
to
10
get a
attachments.
little closer to each
Oh,
other.
gosh.
Yeah, it's a massive.
Hi, Mark, this is Bob Tobias from Scott County Commissioners. How are you?
I'm good, Bob, how are you?
I'm good. I know I've got John Lisby here, County Commissioner, Mike Jones, also County Commissioner. And we were, I think we know what we're talking about, but you're gonna help me here.
All right,
Are you talking about the 5 new locations for cabinets for the broadband service?
that's correct.
Okay. And you are with Frontier, correct?
Well, I'm actually with a consulting firm, I'm with Yates Engineering,
Yes.
and I do work for Frontier, yes, so I'm representing them.
Okay, we just want to be clear on this, so, and you're asking for this expansion of the same service that you done, was you the one that was here about a year ago, you say?
That's correct, yes,
Okay.
I was there, and we talked about several new sites that Frontier was adding at that time, and that this is just an expansion of that same program.
And that's,
Part of the Connect America Fund, the federally funded program to get broadband service out to the rural areas.
okay, and that's, you're at, I've got 203 south of Getty Road on the southeast corner of that intersection. I have it Smith Road, north of Plymouth Road, on the west side of Smith Road, about 1,000 feet north of Plymouth Road. And then we have a Plymouth Road at State Road 3 on the northeast corner of the intersection. I have State Road 3 at Frog Pond Road on the south side of Frog Pond, west of State Road 3. And then we also have State Road 203 north of Smith Road on the east side of State Road 203, about 1,350 feet north of Smith Road. Is that true?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Okay. And and we've done this in the past, but questions on behalf of the board?
I do have a question. This is Mike Jones. I do have a question. Is this existing internet service, or is this service that in the future you could be servicing those areas?
This would be all new internet service. It would be future-based. It's nothing that's existing today.
So, I mean, I guess again, are you gonna put these boxes in, and when would somebody, if the need arise, when could someone get service? Are we talking, you're putting a box in and
I
10
anticipate probably in the July to August timeframe, maybe a little bit later in the year.
So you're talking within the year, you could be supplying some areas out there with internet service.
That's correct, yes.
And is this, I guess, is this gonna be hardwired to the houses, or is this gonna be kind of like towers or a dish?
Now, what this does is those cabinets go out and they connect to the existing copper telephone cables, and then that copper telephone cable provides the internet service from this cabinet to the customer's house.
So it's gonna be a direct wire, it'd be hardwired?
Wired service, yes.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, so, okay, all right. So we're talking about new service in those areas then?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay, because some of those areas are dead zones right now.
Yes, sir. I've been down through there several times, and there are dead zones with internet, and some of them are pretty much dead zones with cell phone service too.
Yep, you're exactly right.
Amen.
Okay, that's the question I had.
So this is John Lisby. We're just asking they're asking to use our easements, is that correct?
They they go on county right of ways, basically, there.
I mean, I don't know how we did it before, but was there fees involved in this? Did they pay us anything?
No,
No?
no, there was no fees involved in this because they were, I think, trying to provide a service. The only thing that we did was try to, and I think what I've seen that they've done is try to keep it back away from the ditch where if we have to do any work in the ditch or something, that it wouldn't be interfere with us. And I think they've pretty well done that, correct?
That's correct. We try to line these cabinets up typically with the power pole because these cabinets do require AC power to them. So we've tried to line the H-frame itself up pretty much with the power pole, get it behind the ditch, get it out of everybody's way. Make it as unobtrusive as possible.
Okay. Okay. What do you think, guys?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
I'll second.
All right, the motion's been made by Mike Jones, second by John Lisby, and I'll make that unanimous if you can put your cabinet boxes up in them 5 locations that we talked about.
All right?
And we thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too. Okay, that's that one.
Next one.
Now, this next one here is,
It's about to pull.
Preston Cat.
You don't have any paperwork on
Except the map.
his name is what, Preston?
Preston.
it? He is the guy that was in there.
And he's just wanting, I guess, approval now.
I'm hoping this is, it involves the same phone call I received a couple of weeks ago where Verizon was asking about 3 different areas here in Scott County, or 3 different proposed sites in Scott County. Just simply wondering if anyone else had applied to put up a tower. And I have those notes downstairs. I advised that no one else had applied to put up a tower. Is that in the northeast part of the county?
No.
You talking about this
You mean this
tower?
tower?
This is behind.
This is behind John Jones.
The old John Jones.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, this is where this one's at. This is where this one's
Well, Verizon is seeking an area in the northeast part of the county to put up a tower.
at.
I think, wasn't that something the sheriff was talking about a while back? Wasn't that
I don't
something?
know.
Well, there was something where he was gonna try to hook
Yeah, I don't know.
up meters out there on the tower.
I knew that, actually, I think Frontier, or AT&T, or whoever, which is Frontier now, I think, had been looking out that area too, so I don't know. Okay, let's get Preston on the phone here.
First of all, this is what you know best, Mike.
Yes, I think I wanted it far in the corner, and this is as far as he can go. It's a 150-foot tower, and he's 150.6, so.
We're good with it.
Where it was before is there's a ditch goes through there, and he was west of that ditch, which is in the center of our property, and if we ever want to build something later on, we'd be sitting right in the middle.
That back there too, yeah. All right. Hi Preston, this is Bob Tobias from the Scott County Commissioners.
How you doing, Mr. Tobias?
Doing okay. I'm sitting here with the Commissioner, John Lisby, and Commissioner Mike Jones. And
Good talk, gentlemen.
our attorney, Mr. Houston, and our auditor, Tammy Johnson. So
Hi, President.
we,
Wonderful.
we're looking at the drawing here. I guess you've been able to figure where the tower is going to go at. And
Yes, sir.
we're looking at it that it's basically 150 feet and a half foot off of the back property line.
Yes, sir.
And then what is, I think I'm looking at 37, is that 37.5 feet off the north
Yes,
property
sir.
line?
Yes, sir. And I got on the phone with April Ramoni, and we looked at the map together. And that is as far north, as far east as we can push it, and still be able to meet the zoning. One of the issues is that property just to the east is a residential parcel, so we've got to be that distance away from that residential parcel line.
Okay,
If y'all are okay with that spot, then we can go ahead and move forward, and I can get another site design, there's another survey set up out there. But if you weren't, I was thinking of a possible option. It's a little unconventional, but in order to get it done and get us moving, I thought this might be an option. I would have to check and verify that with Verizon first, but I wanted to talk to y'all about it first. I did speak to Greg Ramoni, and we are working out a deal as well, working out a lease as well to allow the E911 stuff on the tower at no cost to y'all.
okay,
What he said, the best way that he would be able to use this would be to house their equipment in that building and then run the cables to the tower. Doing that, if he wanted to do that, I was thinking that possibly a good option would be to literally push the tower up to the back of that building. And that way he could run this stuff out of the back of the building and up the tower. And that way y'all can go ahead and develop everything past that parking lot. If y'all ever got to the point where y'all wanted to develop that. It's a little unconventional, and we have to do a different size compound. But I think we can work with it, and that would be able to meet all the setbacks as well.
Would you be close enough to the actual building?
Yeah, I'm talking actually getting right up to the back of the building, like pushing it, like where the fence comes off the back of the building.
So that would alleviate the 60 by 60?
Yeah, we would still need, I believe, let me measure this real quick, I'm looking on the GIS website right now. I believe the back of that building is, a little over 60 feet wide, so we would probably still, just in order to get the foundation that we need down, under the tower, we would probably still need 60 by 60, but it would basically be just a 60 by 60 square off the back of the building, and, there would be a little bit taken up by that back shed that comes off the back.
I got another question then.
Yes, sir.
If we have to keep an area open tall or wide enough for this thing to fall in, if we're putting it right up against the building, if it ever fell west, it'd be on our building, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but here's the thing, they've got, we can have these towers are designed to collapse in on each other within the lease area. So, first of all, the chances of these things falling is slim to none, but we can also give you a structural letter that says it will fall within the lease area and will not hit that building. They literally, instead of collapsing like they set the pencil up and it just falling over, they literally buckle at the 20-foot braces and collapse down on themselves.
Yeah.
so I guess that question brings up the question to me then is if that is in fact, a fact, then why are we having to stay off 150 feet off the back line? Is
I have to talk to April again about that, and that it has to do with just the zoning regulations as far as residential, as being for residential property, I mean,
okay, so it's a zoning issue?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's the main reason we've got to be 150 feet off, because of the distance we've got to be per the code that's written, from the residential property line. So, I mean, that's just one of those issues that you can't seem to get around. That's why I came up with this other option, because it's a possible cure to that, if you can't adjust coming that far, far off. I understand that we're kind of getting to the point where we're kind of running out of options here, and I certainly don't want to, I don't want Verizon to get impatient and end up, asking to move on to another site after we've, spent so much time and effort on this.
I understand. I think, myself personally, I like the original part here where you're on the back of the property, more the back of the property back there. That's, again, that's my, probably pick of the two. John, what do you think? Mike?
I'd say stay where we're at.
I'll entertain a motion for him to move forward on the drawing that he presented to us, which is 150 foot west of the east boundary of the property.
I'll make a motion
Mr. Jones has made the motion.
And I'll second, and also, Mike, I appreciate the work you do.
Yes, Mr. Lisby has seconded the motion, and I will make that unanimous, and I know Mr. Jones has worked more with you than anybody, and we appreciate what he's done on this, so.
Yes, I appreciate y'all's time and effort. What I'll do is I'll set up a site design visit again. You don't necessarily need anybody there. I'll send the AD guy back out there to come up with another lease exhibit and redo the survey, and we'll submit that to you for approval once we get all that back.
All right, yes, we did, didn't we? He made the motion, you second, I made it unanimous. All right, President, thank you very much, and again, thank you for your understanding and patience with doing this over the phone instead of coming to the meeting, but I think you understand.
Yes, sir, I do, and I appreciate y'all, and thanks for making it available over the phone.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, thanks much. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. All right. Next up on the agenda here is the online tax payments via Lee County website.
Skipped one.
Did I skip one?
The community corrections lease, vehicle lease.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, man.
That's all good.
You can sit down there if you like. Okay, we got a community. We got community corrections vehicle lease. They're wanting to lease 2 vehicles here. Do I have some? Oh, here it is. Actually, I've got a thing here that says in light of the current, is this what it is?
Yes.
Okay, in light of the current pandemic, I apologize for not attending the meeting. I'm seeking permission to move forward with leasing 2 vehicles. I presented my plan to the Community Corrections Advisory Board, and they were in agreement with moving forward on this project. The plan is to downsize our fleet to 3 vehicles from 5 vehicles. 2 vehicles are currently being used by the sheriff for his operation as well as the enclosed trailer. And with your permission, I would like to transfer these to his insurance. That will leave us with 3 vehicles, the 2 we use daily and 1 for a pool car. I have checked with John Jones and Bloomington Ford, they're a state bid vendor. Comparing to similar vehicles, the state bid was the lower cost option. My plan is to lease the vehicles, and we currently have the funds to do this and our users' fees and CTP monies. We would not require any assistance from the county. We could sell the surplus vehicles at the auction, or if you have another plan that may be sufficient for your needs. Thank you for your considerations in this matter, and as Mr. Brian Rensselaer has sent this to us. So I'm assuming what I'm reading here is he said a state bid vendor, and comparing the similar vehicles, the state bid was the lower cost option. Aren't they both state bid vendors, or are they not?
Yes, John Jones is, I know.
And Bloomington Ford.
And
They're
Bloomington
saying
Ford, but
state
he
bid.
really don't say who It just says that the state bid was the lower cost option. So I don't know which one that is.
Well, they both would be, they would both be state bids.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, I told you it would be.
I guess so.
Anywhere.
I think what he's probably saying is he's probably looked at cars elsewhere
Uh-huh.
and off the state bid, and the state bid's the cheapest way to
Yeah,
go.
no, that's.
Sometimes it's not, because, I know we got into a situation in the fire department where Colt Chevrolet actually beat their prices. And it's unusual, but they did, so.
I guess my question on this is gonna be is, we no longer make the drive around and have to, they do everything via computer, correct?
Most generally, they do. Everything is, I believe with them, and I'm not that familiar with their department, but most stuff is a GPS tracking now. I know that Brian and the interim deputy director and Brian have a vehicle that they drive to and from home. And they, obviously, I think maybe you might check with them to see if they do night checks on anybody anymore. I don't know that they drive around and do checks like they used to years ago. I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and I know usually they'd basically pull up in front of their house and it pinged whether they was there or not.
It was a range.
But I think it had to be in a range, but I think everything's done by computer. And my only question is, and I know he's downsizing this, but my question is the need for, two vehicles, if we're not using them and other than basically to drive to and from work. That's, I guess, would be my question on
And I think they're paying for them out of their funds too.
I think it is, yeah, but I guess
Instead
that
of
would be,
me, but it's still kind of sort of all county funds.
and it's,
Because
yeah, and I
the
think.
budget's based on what,
And I think the biggest thing is what we talked about earlier is that umbrella for the insurance. You know, that's just two more, and now you know, anytime, I'm assuming this with any kind of governmental entity too, is when you add a vehicle and the value of it's twice or three times of what the value of the one you took off, it's gonna raise your insurance. And that's where we're at. Am I correct on that?
I think they do some type of analysis for fleet inventory, and where you fall at the end of the year is where they look at your premium, they charge you, estimating what you're gonna have. If you upticked from that, they go back and recalculate and probably do consider what's been deleted and what's been added, and then reconfigure your tax, or your insurance bill, and then they bill you the difference, because we got a $5,000 difference bill the other day from the 19 inventory.
Did we ever find out what the quota was, or is it 100 cars, is it 125 cars?
I have not asked where that cutoff is, and I need to do that. I just kind of forgot.
And I think the two cars, or the two vehicles he's talking about here that the sheriff took over, I think those are those vans that are pulling the trailer with the lawnmower and stuff, so, is what I'm assuming. I think that's what they were, 'cause he had, where he was taking those crews out, you know, when it was the corrections department. I know Brian's got one car over there that, and I mean, this is kind of a side note of this. He's got one car over there, I know he's already said, hey, you can take it for a pool car, and if he gets two more cars, there'll be two more cars that are Chargers, I guess, that we could put in that pool to give people an opportunity to drive instead of driving a personal vehicle. So still concerned about people driving their personal vehicle around on county business, especially, I haven't thought about you, but you're probably driving more than
My
anybody.
car's, I can't fit groceries in it, because it's got everything that
I thought about you, but you're probably driving
Look,
more locations.
everywhere.
Let me try to get a take on this. So on the, I guess, and this is where I'm at it with it, is we're looking at these numbers of vehicles that we've got, and I think, how many, and help me out to remember how many vehicles that we have right now. And
It's up there. It's 90-ish.
yeah, and, yeah, I mean, and how many,
We only have 140 or 50 full-time people here, and we have
Well,
about
so-
90 vehicles.
So I mean, that's what's, I guess, misleading to me is the fact that, like you said, we've got 100 to, I think, 144 full-time people, and we got 90 vehicles on our inventory. That's almost one, I mean, you're getting close to, one for every person here. And that's, I guess that's what's concerning me is this going to continue and get out of hand? I want, people to be able to have something to drive if it's, I guess, warranted, but if not, I don't know if we need that many vehicles out
And I
there
don't know
to
if
drive
they're
back and forth home.
My whole thing is that if we don't have a vehicle that, if we're buying them and taking the VIN number and putting it on our insurance, but that car's not moving, then why are we doing that? We're not a car lot, so, I'd like first to know what the cutoff is, and if we need to go to the next level to where, we're not gonna get hit at the end of the year with a $5,000, surprise.
I agree too. I think I'd want a little bit more on that.
But also, you're getting ready to get, 3 or 4 more dump trucks and they're not getting rid of the old ones, so.
So, and again, as far as moving and what you say from his insurance to the sheriff's insurance,
It's all-
there's really no moving, it's just on the list.
I'd
So,
like to-
we don't back bill as far as I know to each department.
When each department budgets, do they budget for insurance for a vehicle they have in their possession?
No.
So it's a county-wide
It's
budget?
countywide.
Okay, so technically, you can
It's
say it's
not-
on your budget or it's not, but it's technically not, it's county.
I talked to the sheriff a little bit about excess vehicles here about a month ago, when I told him we were gonna pay extra money. And I don't know if he can do this or not, but he said he'd pay it. This extra cost for insurance.
That'd be.
You're talking a mixture of.
He offered, I don't
That's
know.
an order problem, not.
Well, I know, but I mean, he offered, it's there if we can do it, if not, forget about it.
Are you talking about a commissary?
Yes, well, I'm sure, yeah. There's a lot of options.
Commissary is pretty laid out for you, what you pay, what you can, but you make exceptions.
Yeah, you guys can.
We, the council can make
Yeah.
exceptions, yes.
So I mean, if you wanna talk to him about that.
Is this a problem with the county attorney's Corvette, which you all?
And you're still driving that?
No,
Just doing from work.
the one you guys want to push around the desk.
I'll be going to work on that.
It's not a problem, George.
I saw some of your.
Gentlemen, John, what's your thoughts on this? Or you feel good on this, or you want to get some more information, or what do you?
He wants to leave, I'm okay, I don't think if we're gonna start looking at this whole thing with cars, we don't need to look at, we need to give at least give these guys to come in and have their defense. But are we getting too many vehicles? Sure we are, but I don't know, we ought to just chop it off like this meeting right here. And usually every time we talk about doing this, we turn around and ask somebody else if they need a car. So, I mean, and there's reason for that, I'm not complaining about that, but I'm not ready to say no to somebody right this moment.
Good thought.
I think if he's got it budgeted and until he starts, I don't even know how old those cars over there. I think they're probably 4 or 5 years old, so
Most of them are pretty.
I
old.
venture to say just, if he's got the money and
Yeah,
I just say, I'll make a motion to accept this. He's downsizing and
yeah.
getting rid of a couple of vehicles that won't be on his plan anyway, but they're being used because
What do you want to do with the difference
Wait.
of the vehicles? Do you want to do you want to put them in the auction pool? Because he said the sheriff's currently using them.
No,
but he's like he's wanting to get rid
no,
of.
no. That's-
Okay.
I think the way I read this is that the 2 vehicles the sheriff's using are the vans that he used to haul people out to mow and pull the trailer. The 2 cars that he's going to buy, he's gonna have 2 Chargers that he's gonna give back to an auction or something else, but
Okay, that's
those,
what I was
that's
asking
where,
about,
that's
yeah.
where if they're decent vehicles, I'd rather put them in a pool where county employees can come in here, get in a car and go instead of driving a personal vehicle, so.
He indicated to me that the one he drives isn't in the best shape, so to speak, so I don't know. You guys may want to have some
Wow.
conversation with him
Well,
individually on
if it's
things,
not, then it
but
can
let me
go
know.
later on.
Here's one thing I will clarify, and we'll hold this up right here, I'll take ask for a vote here on that. But I will say this, I do want to clarify the fact that what we just said was we're not transferring insurance from his department to the sheriff's department, it is all county insurance.
Insurance.
And we're adding 2 more cars
To the
on
county.
top of what we had. So when that does not wash, when you say, well, we're going to transfer the insurance over, it's all our insurance, so so it is not entered.
I don't even think the title changes, is it?
I don't know, because
It's on the Board of Commissioners.
everything should be owned
Yeah.
by the Board of Commissioners.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it is allowing them to purchase them, but they do have to be tied to the Board of Commissioners. So with that being said, I'll open it up, entertain a motion to allow or not
I'll
allow.
ask Tammy one last question, or something to ask Richie, is that if we buy a car that is, well, if you own a personal car and you want to just put liability on it anyway, or without putting full coverage on it, some of the cars that the sheriff's department's buying are cars that have been expired from somebody else's department. Some of them aren't, but most of them are. So is our insurance putting full coverage on these vehicles, or are they putting just liability on some of these cars that doesn't really need to have full coverage on, because they're not worth $5,000?
I kind of posed that question to them over there one time about, do you have fleet coverage for full coverage and then fleet coverage for just P&L? And I don't think they have that. I think it all goes under one
Well,
fleet.
I mean, because we're getting
package.
something, we're getting really,
Yeah, I
We're
understand
getting
what you're
kinda
saying. I've got some that I just
individual.
want property liability on others. I have to have full coverage on.
But some of
There's a
those
lease or
cars-
something or a loan on it, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. just-
Yeah, and most of our vehicles, I mean, to tell you the truth, they aren't probably worth more than $17,000 anyway. Most of them aren't.
Well, if you're buying a new car, you're buying it for about 30, and after about a year, that depreciates in half, so you're right, so. But that's a question I'd be curious about, but I'll go ahead, I mean, John, you want to make a motion, or I will?
No, you go ahead, I'll second it. I'll make a motion to pass this as read, and, okay, yeah. I mean-
Motion to allow him to purchase 2 cars and transfer and get rid of the others, and Mike the second. I'll make that unanimous.
But that insurance stuff is kind of a package.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not always been thrilled about the lease program either, but that's a different story and let's talk about.
Okay, now, Andrew, I think we got to,
Let's go to something else first.
we're talking about online tax payments via the eGov County website, correct?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about this.
I talked with Jason Morris, and he's a representative for eGov Strategies, who is hosting our website. So I talked to him about pretty much the whole lowdown of how this works, and I'll pretty much explain it to you guys what he told me. It's to start this up, because of course right now with the coronavirus going on right now, it would be a good thing for people to be able to make payments online for taxes. This would be the basic package that they have in it, the quickest turnaround. If it is approved by the end of next week, it will be live and ready to go. So this basic package starts out it's a $500 one-time setup fee to the county. Each individual payments by the taxpayers will be at 2.95%, which 2.95% for purchases like this through cards and stuff is actually right at the line with everybody else. 2.95% is scraped off of the amount. So say if you put in, I want to spend $6,000 for a tax payment, that are fees associated with it, and it's scraped off to eGov to cover the fees. So when the Treasurer's Department get your, what did I say, $6,000, they have that $6,000 in the reporting tool. So when they go to reconcile payments, there's nothing in there to mess them up, and they have a real-time view of what payments are coming in and how to apply them, and parcel number, name, address, and all that good
So
stuff.
who's paying 2.995?
The public, the taxpayer.
That's 2.9 with the bill.
Yeah,
Well, somebody pays $1,000, they have to pay 2.9.
5% on top.
That'd be an extra $177.
Correct.
So what you're saying is that at the time they make the payment, it's not a $6,000 payment, it's 6,000 and like a tax on top of that.
Correct.
And then, but when it hits the treasurer's department, it's gonna show $6,000.
And this will just be one option. They don't have to do this. There are other ways they can pay.
Correct, I mean, there's the mail-in, and
Yeah.
after this, walk
It's
in
a
and-
convenience thing.
This is.
Yeah.
So right now, the taxes are being paid, you can go to the bank and pay them, is that correct?
Right now, I don't think you can go to every bank, because my understanding is one of the banks has closed their lobby so that you can go to their drive-in. And the problem with that, if I could go on with that, is if the banks are only going to accept payments at their drive-ins, they're just doing us a favor.
Mhm.
So if we make it so that we're infringing upon their ability to service their customers because they're doing us a favor, my view is they're going to say, well, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's an
Especially with these days,
It's an
because you
inconvenience.
Well, and that's why.
can't go in. So I think we should not encourage people to go to the bank, and we should not depend on the banks, because we're asking them to really do us a favor, and I don't think we should.
That's just an option anyway.
Yeah.
So, you're right, we don't want to say everybody runs to the bank,
No,
but we should leave as many options as possible so
No.
somebody can pay so they don't have to come
So-
running. to this.
and I understand the banks may say we're not going to
Research this.
Yeah,
They're not.
Me and Cheryl and Jason.
Yeah, they're not
are
making
conference
money
call
off
today,
it.
going over the paperwork, because honestly, when it comes to the Treasury Department and these numbers and all this stuff, that's Greek to me. So I did call Cheryl, we had a conference call, and she verified, and everything looked good on her end too, so.
So what do you need from us here, Don?
So since what I'm looking at here, though, is on the back here, tell me if I'm right or wrong here, is the processing information back here, I guess I'm trying to understand this. So the maximum single transaction amount would be $5,000. So if you owed more than $5,000, you would have to do it in multiple.
This is actually for a whole different program.
Okay.
So the credit card payments, you can spend $999,000 if you had it in there, because the credit card or debit card sees it, the funds are guaranteed, boom, it's in the account. So that's how it works. This program will be in place but not enabled. And I'm gonna try to clarify this as good as I can. This is an e-check program. So it's kind of an electronic check. Instead of your debit card numbers, you're gonna put in your checking account number, your routing numbers and all that stuff and pay with that. There is a flat, and there's one good thing. The flat fee for an e-check is $1.50. If you pay $10,000 or $20,000 or anything. From Jason from eGov and even Cheryl kind of didn't want to do this program. Here's the reason. Say you made a payment for $15,000 by e-check. They deposit that money into, say, our bank account, West Banco. It goes directly into their $15,000. It's not a cleared fund. So it's kind of like a pending payment, it's a hold. So if something happens, that money gets debited back out of West Banco, gets disputed, then there's also a chargeback fee to the county. I think he said maybe $35 per transaction, because now they have to get into their system, dispute it, and try to figure out what happened.
Okay.
He said he doesn't like them, some counties do it, a lot don't though. And Cheryl was even kind of like, I'd rather have it, but not enable it at the moment. If down the road we want to look into this, we can.
So it's a separate thing from what you're talking about.
Correct.
But they would, the same people setting the same thing up for us.
Yes.
Everything's there.
They
And
said
that's the
that-
$500 installation.
Yes, and that covers everything. They said it's easier to get it going and not use it than do this, then down the road have to redo paperwork and get it built back into the system correctly. So it's still, there's no price change or fees or anything, so, or uptime for first time payment.
So I guess I have a question. Other than convenience, what's the benefit to the taxpayer?
They don't have to get out of their house.
So we don't live in a big community here. I could see if you didn't live in this community, but you own property here or something, and you were paying taxes from Florida or something, that might be a benefit. But if I can't drive through or drive past here and walk in here and pay my taxes, then I'd rather not be paying $100 and some more
Yep.
to have a transaction. But I still see where, I mean, if it's a $500 one-time fee to do it, I mean, I don't have a problem.
And I'm not really sure how much people's, a big tax amount would be, but say if it's 10, or say if it's $1,000 payment.
It might keep a lot of people from paying less.
Yeah.
I can
They
see
don't have
that.
to pay much of a fee. They might be easier than just pay
If
it.
it's
And then
$1,000,
the guy
it's an
paid
extra.
10,000, makes, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. So it is a convenience, and I mean, if you're ever on a website or you do make online payments, what's that little fee at the bottom that says convenience fee? So that's pretty much one of those things that's worked into.
I'm not against it, like I said,
everything.
I think that it would fit some people probably all right, but some people,
Yeah.
or if you got caught out of town and you said, crap, I had to pay that, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you.
And it's an idle program too, so I mean, if people don't utilize it, it just sits there.
So if we
But
go-
there's not a monthly amount, so what is this total credit and debit monthly sales here? Is that just what she is projecting, 30,000 a month, it's gonna go through that on the second page? What is that there?
Yes, that's just a default prediction.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
And, again, if it's not used, there's no cost to it.
Yeah, it just sits.
$500, is that,
Forever.
is that a one-time fee, or is there a fee every year? to maintain it?
One time setup fee forever. This is a 24-month contract, but in the contract, we do have the right to terminate the contract with no fees or no penalties. And he even kind of told me, he's like, I'm not really sure why it's called a contract when there's no terms to be broken.
And
So-
she has, I'm assuming, the $500 to pay the fee, is that what who?
I would
expected
assume
to
that
pay?
we could come up with $500 to do this well.
We can, if you guys approve this, we'll figure out $500 from,
We're just setting, I'm sorry, we're just setting it up for her, and she can use it if she wishes, so that, I mean.
Yeah, and it will be on the website as, people will be able to click online text payments, put in their name, parcel, ID, how much money will they spend, submit it, and they will get I believe they can get an email receipt also.
And the way I'm looking at it, if they want to use it, fine, it's one less person in his courthouse, one less person parking out on our lots. And if they don't want to use it, they don't have to.
Yeah, correct. I mean, it's
I
it's just there for
right.
convenience.
I guess my question would be with why, this being said, and you're doing it for the treasurer's office, why would we not want to, and I don't know if we can, but could we tie it in, because like the clerk's office, the auditor's office, why would we not have every office set up to where they could take a debit or credit card, even if they walked in and say, okay, boom, we can do that, or they can do it from home? Why would we not maybe consider as to the public on a way to better, because a lot of people don't carry, checkbooks or much cash or whatever, and they come in here and but what would it cost to tie all these together? Could we add to this one
It could,
that we could say, okay, we're gonna have a card reader in every office,
correct.
but then again, I don't know how it would be separated from the treasurer's office to the, like if the clerk's office is taking in child support money or
That's
bond
where I
money
don't know
or
what
anything
kind
like
of,
that.
I don't know what kind of payments a lot of the offices take.
Yeah,
But I know that this system also can incorporate like swipers that we have in county offices. So they can take payments on site too with this. So as it is a county website, we do have the clerks and the auditors. We could probably easily implement some kind of payment to be separate, a payment system so they can take debit card payments also.
Wouldn't it also be a benefit that they get a ton of money, they wouldn't have to load up every night and take it to the bank? With this money, when you do a card.
No, it's direct deposit into the West Banco account that they use for taxes.
So she wouldn't have to take back and forth. More than security benefit there.
Yeah.
You give me a credit card, I'll pay for it.
Well, I like
You
that.
have my money.
Okay.
How about the credit this is type of, kind of like you swiping your card and, or they're processing a debit card, correct?
Correct.
What kind of security do they have to where someone's identity's not gonna get stolen or identification's not gonna get stolen?
I believe it's 128-bit SSL encryption from their computer to when they make payments to the EGOS website. So it is a secure SSL connection. And I say it's probably gonna be verified with a logo too of the company, so. Because as big as a website hoster they are, I don't think they do anything unsafe like that either.
Okay, well, that'd be a question, because we'd be exposed to somebody.
And that, yeah, that brings up a good question there, and I guess when you say that right there, I mean, I would ask again, you know, I know that there has been several restaurants that where people's was hijacked, or whatever you call that, their personal information was, and identity theft thing is going on there, and you know, I know McAllister's in Clarksville is one of them, and at the time it was, I know, because mine was one of them, and I guess what I'm asking is again, you know, what kind of guarantee are they gonna give us on that wouldn't happen?
Or insurance policy or something.
I just emailed him, he said for me to email if he had any questions too, he'll be quick to respond.
Okay.
Like I said, as for security connection wise, it'll be SSL, it'll be encrypted, you don't have to worry about
So
that.
nobody's gonna hack into it?
No, no one's gonna be able to hack into it. And even our website sits, you know, with them, but we run SSL encryption also. So there's no, let me rephrase it, I don't wanna say no.
Yeah.
There's always a way if you're
Yeah.
you're smart
You're
enough to
devious
get in there,
enough.
yes. But as for an insurance policy, that is a good question. We really didn't discuss that.
I just wanna know that we're, I mean, of course, I don't know this company, so I mean, I'm sure they're a viable, reputable company, but I mean, you need to make sure, I mean, even the big guys get hacked, I mean, and
Yeah,
They're AIC endorsed.
yes, I mean,
Yeah.
They are AIC
Yes.
endorsed.
If there's any maintenance issues, they take care of it,
Correct.
they don't charge us fees for that.
mm,
I don't have a problem with it, I think.
I don't think it's a good thing.
If it's a benefit to somebody, I think it's a good thing, and if it's a one-time, or only time, $500 fee, I mean, is there any equipment that we have to buy, it's just a call-in number or website or something?
it's all there.
Me, if it's convenient to the taxpayer, and it's one less car on the lot out there, and one less person in this courthouse, and less money having to hold the bank, I see a win from it.
And you think it will be up and ready by the end of next week, is that
That's what
right?
he said. He
Okay.
said he did talk with his development team and they will rush it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and this is a basic package. We did talk about down the road, there is a premier. It's $5,000 one-time setup fee. Pretty much the same rules, same contract terms and everything. But the website will be able to attach to the back end of our MVP software that calculates taxes and has all the parcel information. So when the public goes to the website, they will really get a complete whole readout of every bit of the information, what they owe, all sorts of parcel information. This one's basic, where it's, you're gonna go on there, my name's Bob Tobias, I live at this address, this parcel number, I wanna pay this amount.
With that, but let me ask you, with that being said, and I'm assuming that, will the treasurer have to basically download all the bills for this to this site, so that, like, if I go on their website and I punch in my address and my name, is it automatically gonna come up and say, oh, this much money?
No,
So I'm
Not
gonna
right
have
now.
to know
You-
what my, how
you might
much,
have to call and just say, hey, it's Bob,
okay.
how much do I owe?
Because, well, you're probably gonna get your tax statements anyway,
That too.
you know, from the bill. So, you know, if I look got that there and added up, I can say, okay, here's what I owe for this May or November, whichever one it is, and I can just pay that amount at that point. But I'm going to need to know that, because
Correct.
if you've lost that or whatever, then I'm either gonna have to call in here and get how much it is, okay?
So
But the company would,
piggybacking off his question, they're not gonna have access to our tax records. All they're gonna have is they're just gonna process
The payment.
a payment to somebody's tax bill, and they don't know what the tax bill is or anything to do with their tax information. All they're doing is sending it to the treasurer's office, say, make this payment towards this guy's tax.
Correct.
None of our tax system is gonna be in their system.
Not right now, because this is pretty much basic. This is to get our feet on the floor and to get something going. When they submit a tax payment, it will be full name, last name, address, parcel number, and amount. So when it goes to Cheryl's reporting system, she's gonna see that, be able to, verify that.
So whoever's using it's putting that information.
Correct.
Ivy, you got a question?
but if they don't have a parcel number, they're not gonna know where to apply it, so they're gonna have to go through their computer system and figure out what all to apply it to.
Correct, they will,
And if you've got 30 parcels,
you will have to call
lump
them.
Well, I guess piggybacking on her question, if I have my tax sheet and I call in, I go, I got a parcel, I'm paying this on this parcel, then wouldn't it just pay on that parcel?
Mhm.
Okay, so.
if you've got the
person,
number.
the person that's calling in needs to have that information, so otherwise, it hits the treasurer's office and they don't distinguish what parcel it's gonna go to.
Correct.
They're just gonna put it to something and you can have to hash it out later, go, well, you.
Correct, when they
Yeah.
submit that payment, there will be that spot for that parcel
All
number.
right.
That information has to be there,
Yeah,
so.
so if you're gonna utilize it, you need to have your information when you call or
Correct.
go online or whatever you're doing.
Correct.
Okay.
But like I said, this is basic. This is to get our feet wet and start this as quick as possible as for what's going on and for a benefit to the community also, so.
Well, like I say, I think it, there's a lot of people that certainly will use it, I think, and whether it's a lot of maybe elderly people that will use it, people, I think it'll be used, so I don't have a problem with it.
And as for adding on, like I said, to other departments, it's probably easy. We can always add on. The Premier Suite would be really nice, but he said that is months to build out, to really get it configured. This is by the end of next week. So,
John, any more on
No,
that?
on that one, I'm bored.
Mike, you good?
I'm good.
I hear a motion to approve the application for merchant card processing.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Second, I'll make it unanimous. Is this the one that we need?
right there, then there should be the other pamphlet too. Yep. Thank you. Should be page 5 and 6. I need your signature on, merchant signature down on page 5.
Changing the subject, you can get your computer thing
Popper.
straightened out.
Papa?
Yes.
Your last top question. Touch on.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we discussed it briefly that morning, but, I don't even know if we should get time to bring this up, or if there's ever, I guess with what's going on, if we ever have to send people home
Yeah.
or something, yeah, page 6 also. Or I'm sorry, let me see real quick.
Okay.
No, yes, sorry. I might have to have a little bit of a heads up, because to get everybody outfitted with equipment to take home, set up, that can be,
That'd be a question, though, I think we'd have to think about how many positions in government would actually be able to do something from home.
There's many factors, their internet speed, their.
But if you can't work from
I
home,
can't.
then
I
there's no
can't.
reason to take a computer home. So,
It makes
but if you
sense.
can, I mean, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how many positions in this building that would be able to utilize that, and I think it's slim to none.
And that's been one of our big things, that whenever someone says, well, I'm gonna let somebody go home and work from home, we kind of recoil at that, because most of our jobs aren't jobs that you would send somebody home and let them work from home from. Most of
first
them
of all,
aren't.
Some of it's secured, and you don't need it outside this courthouse.
Yeah.
And you take things with you to go do the work, and that's really, it shouldn't be, some stuff shouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily be
I think
leaving, so.
I think we hold off on that. All right. There is one more thing that I would like to ask of you. I don't know if you can, I don't know what you can do here. I kind of feel like that, how hard would it be to have a phone hooked up, or at least, I think they got a computer, to have a computer hooked up at the security station where they can contact the offices.
They have a phone there.
They do?
Yeah.
So at this time, if somebody, because we are trying to follow the WHC's guidelines and limit the number of people that can be in here at a time, if somebody comes up there, they can call the clerk or the recorder and say, hey, I've got so-and-so here, and they may need to come to your office, and they can tell them whether or not they're full right at the moment, or they can say, yeah, send them on down, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
they can pick it up, hit a 4-digit extension,
And put it
and
on.
that's it.
Okay, perfect.
They do have that capability.
And I'm gonna piggyback on that, because one question I do have for you guys is about deliveries. Obviously, we have UPS and FedEx, and we are the bullseye in this whole thing right now. We don't have cases, as far as I'm aware of right now, of that here, but every county just basically around us has been noted to have at least one case. So if those drivers come from other counties because they're servicing or other areas, they come to this courthouse, how far do you want the delivery people to go? They have 4 or 5 packages and they want to run them around, do they drop them off at security? Are we going to allow security to sign for other departments' packages? Is there something sensitive the prosecutor's waiting for, and maybe they have to deliver it directly? Those are things that I'm not for sure how you guys want that worked out, because obviously these people are in a lot of locations, and they could be obviously infected and come in this building.
I would tell you, I would handle that real quickly. I think I would, because of the phone system, I think when the UPS man gets there, or the FedEx man, or whoever it is, and they have a delivery, I think they can say I've got a delivery for the prosecutor's office, the clerk's office, and auditor's office, and whoever else.
Send somebody.
And at that point, they pick that phone, they call them and say, you've got a UPS delivery, please come down and get it. At that point, they send
And
somebody
they
down.
can sign
to
for
get it.
their own
I
department
think they could
package.
sign for
They
it.
can't come right down to the Cody Hole and set the stuff
Yeah.
over there and come and get it for the meeting.
Yeah.
They might want to have to.
I mean, I get toner cartridge, okay, but somebody else may have sensitive material,
Yeah.
so.
So I think
Yeah,
that's.
the office holders may not like that.
Yeah, and I think that would probably be the fair way of doing that, don't you? I mean,
Well,
you know.
the other part of that,
I know that.
Because I work for one of those
Cody,
companies, they-
you or somebody would be holding up.
they're restricting as much hand-to-hand or person-to-person contact there is. A lot of them don't even walk into offices anymore, they stand at the door, they have a package brought to them, so there's a lot of non-contact anymore.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, the next thing on the agenda here is a salary ordinance for a pandemic pay policy amendment.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you guys.
You got this. We have an ordinance here, it's,
Andrew, if we're gonna, I'm gonna work back, if we're gonna have them come down and pick this stuff up, will there be like some of them boxes maybe a pretty good size, will there be like a cart for them?
It's their problem.
Well, I know it is, it'll be our problem, they come in complaining about it.
That, I don't know if they have cards or
I
not.
don't, wonder if we should do something like that. It's not your issue, I just,
Yeah, I would have a clue if they have cards or not, so.
okay.
They can have one reserved, walk up.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll call short. I'll just come over and take it up.
Thank you.
Most of the man in
Thank you.
Houston,
Do what?
I said most of the man in Houston, he
On the ordinance amending the 2020 salary ordinance for Scott County for the pandemic pay policy, you do this?
No, Tammy did it.
Have you looked it over?
I have not, but I can, there are a couple, I would ask you to go ahead and sign it. However, I would ask Tammy to fix page 1 where it talks about city employees.
Oh, did I miss one of the calls?
2 of them.
Two of them, okay.
But other than
On the
that,
same line.
Are they on the same line?
Yeah,
other than that, I think the county,
halfway down.
I think the commissioners ought to sign it because you all
Oh,
sign the payroll, you're responsible for reviewing that. But and then the council should sign it also because they set the salaries. And this really does change the salary structure. The State Board of Accounts says to do this and so does the governor.
Now, does this cover every employee,
Yes.
including part-time?
And my curiosity is,
I think we can change, I think we have
Because
some
it needs
discretion.
to.
I think we have some discretion about it.
we wouldn't want to make somewhere along this, I know it says for the pandemic, but should we make this like a temporary policy? For
It says
for this event's what we're doing, right, for this pandemic?
Yeah, I think it's,
Yeah.
and it says.
Make sure we worded it somewhere along.
And this was copied from, I think the State Board of Accounts, the way they wanted it done, but also Bose McKinney did it too, and it got from Bose McKinney to Josh and prepared for Austin and Scottsburg. It's the same.
it's roughly the same
But
thing.
Right.
would be a point somewhere along the line where we say, we're done with this?
Yeah, we just revoked it.
And we don't want to put this in file, forget about it.
No.
Well, and it's got pandemic policy here, so it's
I know.
only under those
I know,
circumstances.
but, and I know, I'm just
But
trying
I guess the question for John would, John's asked, when do we declare the
Declare
pandemic
it's
over?
over.
And when we do, we still need to revoke this.
Now, is this for anybody with just symptoms, or do they have to be diagnosed?
Yes, both. If it.
I mean, I know they'll have symptoms if they got it, but
No,
say they have symptoms and they stay home and then they don't have it.
well, let me give you an example that we're doing right now. We have 2 people that are home now because they may have been exposed. One is likely exposed, and one is at very high risk. So they're home right now.
So that apartment,
Are they being tested?
then make it,
It would be cleared up because a person involved that is not our employee is being tested.
There's a link.
I don't want to talk about it much more because we don't want to identify those anything.
No, I understand that, but
so it sounds like better to be safe and good.
Yeah,
Not-
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a department head that's got to make the call.
But this also
Yeah, I
covers that
Tammy, did you
if we
advertise?
determine we're gonna shut the courthouse down,
Exactly.
Then you can still
Did
pay.
you
if we pay somebody, then we're not gonna
Yes,
get our heads.
it's on, and it's on the
Right.
bottom of the agenda
Okay,
too, yes.
so we talked about.
Actually, it's a protection for you all because you signed the payroll. Tammy is the auditor's kind of responsible too, so.
I think Ivan and I both probably got some questions, and if you would stay long enough to have a little executive after you get done, Tammy has advertised for one. We can discuss these things in. No,
Oh, okay.
I'm hesitant about whether or not it's executive,
I'm sorry,
whether it's executive.
Well, you're talking about your
Session material.
employees.
Yeah.
It
talking
can't
about the
be.
employees.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. I guess what's next to your question? Maybe we should do it right now.
Well, one thing I haven't seen the order, but if you all go ahead and pass it, but I'm not aware.
Yeah, well, then we have to give it to you.
So they gotta go pass, it's not in effect till us, we pass it and they pass it.
Right,
Yeah.
Yes.
It just got here first. Because it
well,
just,
when are you gonna declare the pandemic over? That's my number one question.
Number one,
I think I'll tell
I
you
think,
tonight.
I think
For 18 months.
it will be, myself, the way I'm understanding this, I would think it would be, this coincides with what the state, and here's what it reads here, and I'll read part of this to you here. Whereas on June 14th, 2020, the Scott County, Indiana Council adopted this ordinance, and the ordinance establishing wages and salaries for 2020, which may be amended from time to time. And whereas that on March the 6th of 2020, Governor Eric Holcomb signed an executive order declaring a statewide emergency related to the COVID-19 or coronavirus. So I think probably when, I would think that whenever the governor says, he's gonna lift the state of emergency, statewide state of emergency for the COVID-19 or the coronavirus, I would think that would be the ending time. That's what when I read it. And it says, whereas the governor has asked employees and encouraged employees not to work while sick, including instituting supportive sick leave policies and do not penalize staff for missing work while they are ill. And where we understand the importance of safe practices in order to help slow down or prevent the spread of COVID-19, and desires to take all the steps possible in order to preserve the safety of county employees and all residents of Scott County. So again, I think to answer that question, Mike, it would be on my, again, thought, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think whenever the governor says, that we can lift the state of emergency for the COVID-19, that would be the end of it for us too. That's, at that point, it would.
Right, which they're saying it's gonna go on for
And
months.
we don't know when that's going.
So,
Yeah.
right,
So to put a
Go on for a
definite
year.
date to it, I don't think anybody can do that. I would just say that once, I wouldn't have a problem if that's even written into this ordinance, that once that the state of Indiana has declared that the statewide emergency for COVID-19 or coronavirus is over, that would end this
Well,
year.
the reason I ask and make comments is almost everything that the council does that's outside of ordinary come back to bite us in the rear. And we'll not be able to plan for everything, but I would certainly like to have an ending time.
Well, could we not do this? We could set do this monthly or every 6 weeks or something, renew it each time?
I would,
And we can do that, would that?
I think what I put in there is just what Bob said. I think I would say this ordinance is in effect until the governor lifts the statewide emergency.
yeah, because he's not gonna lift it as long as it's going on, so
Yeah.
it's
Well,
still
I'm
getting
okay with that
affected.
too, I'm just trying to ease his concern.
Would that be-
Whereas,
You
can
think
it
that
say,
that
long, yeah.
I think that's what we would.
As long as
I would
we know
put
going
whereas something that.
then on March the 16th, he signed an executive order declaring statewide emergency, and upon the declaration of, his declaration that it is over, that this will no longer be in effect,
Yes.
basically something to that effect, Bob will give me the words.
And the problem
I would
is,
think once.
as we all know, this small county, we don't particularly make any waves anywhere. If the governor, we may have 30 cases in this county, and the governor lifted, we may say, we're not ready to go back. I'm just throwing out things that could happen.
I think this first paragraph might help a little bit too, when you establish an ordinance that says it may be amended from time to time. So if something's not right here the next week or 2 weeks, we come in and amend it, can't we?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Feel like I haven't seen the
So
ordinance.
if you guys run into some issues, we might be able to
Okay,
amend
very
it.
good.
I'll make a motion to accept the ordinance change.
Motion's been made to adopt
And actually put the changes in.
this
Yeah,
ordinance,
change the city to county.
amending
and
the
then-
2020 salary ordinance for Scott County, Indiana for pandemic pay policy. Again, with the changes, it's going to read that once the governor has lifted the statewide emergency, that it would be null and void.
I'll second that.
And I'll make it unanimous, and let's give a copy.
Just, yes, and I'll take
I
a
would,
couple of them signed if you don't
Okay.
mind, and then I'll correct the front page, that'll be easy to do. So, we're good.
So,
you got one,
kind of while we're
sign.
on this subject, have y'all
Yeah, I have one.
decided when you might shut the courthouse down?
It's shut down now.
What is?
You know what, and I know that's true, but I'm not sure shutdown's the best word we should be using.
No.
Well, okay,
Because there is exceptions.
when I
Close
say
to
shut down, I
public.
mean send the employees home. Have we decided 3 cases in Scott County, 1 case in the courthouse? Have you any idea when you might send the employees home or just take effect?
That's a day-to-day That's a day-to-day question, because right now there's nobody, so.
Yeah, based on Monday's conversation, I think that my view is at least that the commissioners would be very influenced by what they hear from Dr. Rogers and Michelle Matern at the health department. Because they're the ones that really are on the front line of all this and know more about it than any of the rest of us. And also how to protect ourselves. I think my view of what you're saying is, based on what conversation with them, stuff y'all jump in here from, is that if we had somebody that works in this courthouse that's tested positive, that changes the game pretty quick.
Yeah, okay, well,
And I wouldn't,
But he's got to.
yeah, well, I say, I know y'all had that meeting and we weren't there, of course, but I just kind of wondered what kind of guidelines you had for instilling.
Well, and we're getting into things that, we've never done. We don't do it.
It's a fluent
Well, I
process right
understand.
now. And it could change in the morning.
Yeah,
So,
it could change in the morning.
well, I agree with what you said. I want the doctor and the health department to address us and say we need to move on something.
And the document you have underneath here was just sent to me late today, and I forwarded it to Bob, and he said to make it available to you. This was from Irwin's office. I did not request this, but they're sending it out to their clients,
Oh,
which is that document you've got right there. So that's for your review.
Yeah, and I think, and I've just seen this here as, again, it says, and I'll read this pretty quick here. It says, when a health pandemic has been declared by the state of Indiana, county commissioners may alter, modify, and suspend necessary procedures as recommended by the county health department, the Indiana State Health Department, and the Centers for Disease Control. The county commissioners will follow all guidelines and directives provided by the county health department, the Indiana State Health Department, and the Center for Disease Control to determine facility closures. And when the facilities are officially closed by the county commissioners for health pandemic conditions, the time off from scheduled work will be paid to all employees affected by the facility closing. Temporary, seasonal, and part-time employees will be paid for hours regularly scheduled to work. I think that's what you asked a minute ago. The county commissioners will identify essential employees that will be required to work or telecommunicate during the health pandemic emergency closings. Essential employees will be determined based upon the circumstances of each health pandemic. Essential employees that are required to work will receive additional straight time pay or compensatory pay for all hours worked. During any health pandemic emergency closure, the county commissioners will establish restricted travel policies, meeting protocols, and health precautions for employee and facilities. The county commissioners may establish protocols to reduce employee exposures to the public. Accruals for benefit calculations such as vacation, sick leave, or holiday benefits shall accrue during the health pandemic emergency closings. And employees on vacation at the time of the health pandemic emergency closings will be charged with their vacation time as previously scheduled. Employees that's on sick leave or FMLA at the time will be charged with sick or FMLA as previously requested. So this is kind of a list here that we're going to go by, and again, it's we are certainly in uncharted waters here, and things change daily. I do know that the governor has, as far as, and I think you guys' meetings, never before have I ever heard of this, and but the Board of County Commissioners has always had to at least be two of us here to conduct business, and they have relaxed, the governor has relaxed that says that one county commissioner can be in this room and the other two can be on the telephone, and you can still go ahead and conduct business. And so it is a serious, as we know, serious pandemic, and we want to try to do the best we can for all of our employees, and not only our employees, but the people that comes in this courthouse too. So with that being said, we've got
As you
two
know,
copies. That
but with that, I mean, we're kind of in line with the other counties around us. I mean, Washington County has shut their courthouse down, kind of like what we did. They'll let people in the hallways, but they're kind of, the way their setup is, they said they can't really shut the whole thing down because people have to flow through. I will say that, talking to the commissioner in Harrison County, Monday, Tuesday, they closed the whole courthouse. They sent everybody home. So I don't know how long that's gonna happen, but, and I wouldn't think it'd happen very long, but, they.
You know, I think, and again, and what we have done, and as everybody knows, that we are certainly trying to restrict the number of people that's coming through, not only for their benefit, but the benefit of our employees, and, you know, following the WHC and the CDC's recommendations to try to keep crowds 10 or smaller. That's what we're trying to do. We're not telling people that they cannot come to the courthouse and do business. We're just telling them that it may not be the same, and that they might want to call ahead and schedule an appointment, or they might want to get here, and if you've got 10 people already, or 5 or 6 people down in an office, a certain office, then they may be asked to wait until somebody comes out before they go in. So we are certainly going to try to follow the recommendations of the WHC and the CDC and the President of the United States.
I got one more thing, I'll leave you guys alone. I talked to Aaron Bell yesterday, and he's gonna recommend to the board tonight, they were supposed to call me if they needed me, by the way, so, but they haven't. So he's gonna recommend to the board at the meeting tonight that they close the recycling center. Now, what that's gonna consist of, I don't know, but he's concerned about the contamination on everything's being recycled that their employees are handling. So you may get something from SEIRD suggesting that you close, or tell them.
Just the recycling part.
Just the
of it.
recycling,
Okay.
just the
Okay.
recycling part, and probably the reuse shop too.
Yeah.
But the rest of it's up to you guys, but just recycling, but I just want to give you a heads up on that, I may have.
Okay. All right. Okay, and we've got you taken care of. We've got 2 copies for you, is that correct?
You've done that, thank you.
Okay, we've done that, so now we're moving on to the health department. Has got a thing here for a checking account authorization, and so she's asking to open a bank account for the department for the sole purpose of depositing our Medicaid payments electronically. And said she has spoken with Pat at EMS, and she said that they do this with their payments as well. At the end of every month, she zeroes the account by writing a check to the Scott County Treasurer to deposit into our county fund account. So I would like your approval to open this account at the New Washington State Bank, and she's attached an email correspondence with the New Washington State Bank.
Which I have that.
And it says, thank you for your consideration, and this is Michelle, Alabama Health Department. So again, what you guys thought, you know, all right with me?
I'll make a motion
To allow?
Yep.
Motion to allow, second? Unanimous. All right, retain the services of Keitlinger and Gray as special counsel. I think that you're aware of
Yes.
that. And
I'll make a motion to accept that.
motion made to retain their services. Do I hear a second?
Wait a minute, you lost me, where we at?
On retain the services, Keitlinger and Gray as special counsel.
Yeah, second.
I'll make that unanimous. Courtyard use permit display for foster care and the English and Park annual Captain's 5K run request. The foster parent appreciation, I think that they would like to put up a display on the courthouse lawn, thanking foster parents in our community. And this is from May the 1st to May the 31st.
And they got an insurance certificate attached to the copy I have.
Okay, so this one here, again, is a permit to allow the foster parent, I think we've done this in the past, haven't we? And it gives the
I'll
time
make a motion.
motion made to allow the foster parent program to put up the sign for a
I'm for that, I'll second, I'm just curious what the insurance for, what are they gonna trip it fall down or something, or?
We require, I mean, if that sign would blow down and go hit a car somewhere in the parking lot, we don't want to be liable.
That's unanimous on my part. So the next one is the Englishton Park.
When is that?
This is May,
Oh, here it is.
to allow Englishton Park Presbyterian Ministries permission to close Getty Road and Plymouth Road at their junction for approximately 90 minutes to facilitate a 5K run or walk. This is scheduled for June the 13th. That one there is, we don't know.
Here's
Well,
my,
I think you do it and say pending.
here's my thought, if they cancel it, then they cancel it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect that. If they cancel the
Yes.
run, then
Yes.
they cancel the
Right.
run,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that wouldn't have
Where
anything
you
to do
check
with
the
it.
whole fire department.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think it could very well stop that.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
All right, motion made to allow them to close Getty and Plymouth Road for approximately 90 minutes for that on June the 13th, 2020. Do I hear a second?
Yeah, that's quite a way away, so yeah.
Unanimous.
But the only thing, it's not gonna affect us, they cancel the race, then they
Yeah.
didn't do it, so.
Yeah.
Claims consideration of Riverfield EDC and IU health physicians. This is off the grant. Nick usually comes and tells us about it, but this is an amount, and this invoice amount is $25.20, $2,520.98, and it looks like that we still have a balance after this of about $60,890, and this is just for payment that usually comes in middle monthly that pays the IU doc. So, motion approved. Second? Unanimous. This one, the one you want to sign here?
They want me to sign this one.
Okay.
We'll sign it at the very bottom, so it's on that.
And then the next thing is consideration, oh, wait a minute, we got wing and paving. We have a needs approved here at, this is an amount of $73,317, and this was part of the paving contract, I guess, so. It is,
It does,
it does, so.
I don't know, it would be nice to know what.
Wingate, it is, I'm sorry, I didn't, on the one that she handed me, it's for Wingate Road, it was completed on 3/13/2020, and that's for an amount of $73,317.20, and that's paid out to community crossings, that's deducted from his deal. So,
I'll make a motion to accept.
And I'll say.
unanimous, and,
Everybody would have it. They can do the file lab.
and, next we got and for the record, what is for the record?
And it
Oh,
is
recording
recording
equipment.
equipment, and it looks,
For
for
Judge
the
Mountain?
circuit court, yes.
Yeah.
3359 even.
Okay, and
That's what fire.
that's being paid out of, where?
Magistrate equipment line,
Okay.
they've got some. If it wasn't already budgeted, it would have had to go on the council for cut to, so it's
It's there.
there.
I do have a motion.
I'll make a
Motion made by John, second by Mike, I'll make that unanimous to allow.
Okay, and I'm gonna have you sign this one right here, Bob.
Okay, there's that one back. Indiana testing, this for $640, and that's employee drug testing.
I have a question about this.
Okay.
Why is the numbers all skewed?
It depends on how many's on each invoice. Those are separate invoices, and I can't tell you who they were on there by attaching everything.
Technically, it's $32
A
a
person,
person.
typically, yes, unless there's an alcohol and drug. Yeah, so each invoice may have, if they send 5 for pre-employment screening, I'm gonna have 5 on each.
I understand.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to accept.
thank you.
Motion made, second. Unanimous. got one for that one?
I do.
I figured you did. All right, fine.
We were all ready to do that. And Michelle already did all of
Okay.
it.
Consideration of the minutes for February the 19th,
Anybody
meeting.
need a copy? Then they want, then they, I hate that I send them out so late.
I can get them up later.
No, you can, we'll put them on the website tomorrow. I'll get them to Lisa, but if you want to probably get Blaze over real quick, John, to make sure that it's all well, you want to for You can have that if you want that one. But if you guys, whatever your pleasure is on those.
Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for February 19th?
I will, I do like to look at it first, but
Okay.
yeah, I'll pass it, because I want to feel confident.
Motion made second?
Second.
I'm unanimous. And the payroll docket ratification,
It's right there.
right here,
She's doing good.
March 13th, 2020. I hear a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second? Unanimous.
Y'all call me anytime.
And,
I want to call her.
the only thing I see here left is, do we have any FMLA requests? I guess we do.
Here.
On the
There's
substitute.
two.
They're back.
Kind of wondered.
Might get it taken out.
Oh, talk.
No.
Fill me a little bit.
I have used up the balance of 4 pens since I've been in here. This is
Oh,
that's
I
what's
get
on my
that.
desk.
Get that motel room so I don't go all the way home. huh?
There you go, there you go. We have 2 FMLA requests.
Two council legal attorney, it can't be good.
So it's always bad.
Yeah. Well, I'll approve them, I don't see.
Do about that.
Hey, don't bother checking this.
I don't know.
I don't need it.
Can I see
Go
that?
in.
Can I see that bag?
Yeah.
Maybe he knows that.
You know what?
Obviously, looks like you're getting ready to go to, I don't know.
Well, but my hearing aids, I can't get them wet, you know.
That's my thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, you know. You don't like my hat? What the hell?
I did say that, like, I said, it looks like you're ready to go to Jurassic Park or something.
Yeah, I'm old, but hell.
Thanks, buddy. See you later.
What can I say?
Yeah.
Okay, I think you can give that back to her, I think we all signed that. Okay, on the FMLA request, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion made.
Second. I'll make it unanimous. And we need to sign off on them, I guess we passed that back.
I'll stamp them.
That's good. Is this, do we need to do anything on this here? This was, on that,
That's
for
the contract.
contract, but we signed the other
I
one also,
think
so that's.
Gave that to you because it was a full thing
Yeah.
rather than just the, because we didn't want to make copies for everybody
Okay.
that long.
Okay. All right, we will have an executive session to follow here, but at this time, John, do you have anything that you want to say or, bring up at this time?
No.
Mike?
I'd just like to thank everybody's patience here in the courthouse for one thing, because I know that some people kind of were panicked about what's been happening or what hasn't been happening. And also want to thank Josh and Mr. Sexton for stepping up and doing some extra wiping of handrails and doors and stuff like that. And as well as everybody in each of the offices, because I know they're having to wipe down their areas and so hats off to those. Same way with the health department, hats off to them, as well as the county garage. I mean, those people are out public as well, so, and quite honestly, the sheriff's department as well, because they got a lot of people over there in the jail that, they're trying to maintain and keep healthy and like I say, I think so far so good, so.
All right, I'll tell you what, I'm kind of going to piggyback on what Mike just said. I have, this is the second pandemic that I've been through. 2015, we went through the pandemic, of course, hit Scott County and the HIV pandemic. And at that time, I think we relied very strongly and wholly upon our health department, the state health department, the Center for Disease Control, and that's where I think we're at now. I think it's been pretty well understanding of this board that we're trying to follow what the World Health Services and CDC has recommended and try to limit the crowd sizes and limit the number of people that can congregate at one place. And again, we will pretty well adhere to what they are, the professionals. And I can tell you that I have never in my lifetime, and I've been through this, I don't think anybody has, today that's alive, that's ever been through anything like this. And so we will get through it, and we will come out of this better, I think, down the road. But right at the moment, we're trying to adhere to what, like I say, the World Health Center and the CDC is saying. And so please be patient, and I thank you for the patience I have had. But this is all new waters, it's uncharted, and so I think at that point we'll make mistakes, but we'll get through them. So with that being said, Tammy, do you have anything?
No, I really don't, other than, anybody that has questions or concerns, I've put things out there, the department heads, if you guys need something disseminated, just contact me, I'll try to get it out as soon as I can. I've been inundated with phone calls and questions, a lot of people concerned about payment while they're off from work, and if they are off from work, and of course we haven't crossed that bridge yet, because we really don't have an abundance of situations where we need anybody off from work for 10 days at a time right now. So, again, bear with me, because this takes precedence, obviously, and there are other things that may go by the wayside in the meantime, so please have just patience with me, because a lot of times what's left to do in that office, it falls pretty much all on me, because there's nobody else in that office due to the privacy and the nature of things. I don't want somebody in my department typing something for you guys. I feel like I deal with you guys. So again, I can't pass a lot of this stuff on to anybody else. It again rests on my shoulders, but I appreciate your patience while I'm trying to work through this with you guys.
Okay.
And during all this, we've kept daily business going. So everything we'd be doing normally, I think is still going on. I don't think we really changed much on that effect.
So did we have an effective date on that, when it starts?
March the 6th was the governor's
Yeah,
declaration.
It's as soon as we signed it. When you guys sign it, it will make it official. And again, I will allow, and I certainly appreciate you, Mike, and Ida, for coming to the meeting, because it is a joint effort here,
Yeah, it is.
on monies and on policies, on how we get through this in the weeks to come. And so I thank you, and I'm going to give both of you an opportunity, if you'd like to speak, now's the time to do that, if you'd like to say anything.
Well, they stay in 9 months, get ready for the baby boom.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I said
But
that
everybody
too.
has to stay home, like the great snows. No, I
That will be happy
appreciate
time.
you guys getting a hold of this and getting it done early.
We've certainly tried to be, this board has certainly tried to be proactive,
Right.
from the get-go on this, and, but again, we have a wonderful health department, and they have been giving us, feeding us the information that allows us to make some of the hard decisions that we have to make. And on this and every decision we have to make, we pretty well coincide with what the health department's needs and wants is going to be, and what's best for this community. And that's what we're going to do, is what's best for this county, as we always try to do. And so again, we certainly appreciate you guys coming, showing up, and we do thank the public. Again, we do try to limit the number of people coming into the meetings at this time. And again, just a different day for right now. We'll get back to the way things was at some point, but it may not be in the next month or two, but it'll
It's
be
gonna
pretty
get
quick.
worse before it gets better.
And I certainly appreciate you
You're
guys.
right about the health department, even this restricted court outfit came from an email from
Yes,
Michelle.
yes, it did. And
It's
so,
like, we need to do something.
and so with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting, and we will go into executive session after a short break.
I'll second.
Second, and I'll make that unanimous, and we are adjourned. And if
You
you,
got an executive on your own?
we are, yes, well,
I don't,
I mean, you don't need us?
I mean, if you want.
I don't know what's about, so.
Uh,
I think just in general, isn't it?
I think we put the